as always, we turn on OBS because there's no editing. I got to get to the bottom of this. Um, I've talked about many times. I watch a lot of people's stuff, and the biggest ones I watch are the Escape podcast to have something to talk about. I really, really miss talking to people about superhero stuff and comics and movies or whatever. I just don't have a big group anymore. We used to do the podcast we did weekly, then that turned into monthly, and now it's like every 3 months. But we had it set up so well. I was getting my fix, especially weekly, to talk about what I love, TV shows, movies, whatever. So I appreciate this podcast a lot, the Escape podcast. I don't know their names. I know Hat Guy and the other guy. That's it. So saying that, I appreciate their content. I should watch their regular stuff. I usually just watch their reels because their reels are good enough of a opinion piece for me to make a video, and I appreciate that. But something has to be said. Is TASM 2 that bad? I'm gonna make a YouTube video that says TASM or The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is bad. Who are we kidding? Or something like that. Amazing Spider-Man 2 is not good at all. And Not Hat Guy seems to put it at the top as his number one movie. I guess he's like a big Spider-Man fan. I would consider myself pretty big Spider-Man fan. Definitely my top 5. It's really hard, man. There's so many good superheroes. Wolverine's always number 1. Batman's in there. I believe Spider-Man's in there. It's just hard. There's so many good superheroes. Depends on who writes them. But when you think the core, what gets you, Wolverine was my first tattoo. My second tattoo was Spider-Man. Just Spider-Man's just so relatable. No, I never got bit by a spider and got powers, but we know the struggles. Everyone got that Parker luck sometimes. We get the struggle Peter's going through, and it makes sense. We can't do that with Black Adam sometimes, or most of the times we can't do it with Black Adam or Shazam. We can't really tackle that. Wolverine's a different story. I don't really relate to him as I've been a little rough guy and stuff, but someone that's pushed through everything and getting the worst of the worst his whole life, but you still keep pushing and fighting, and even though you're big berserker little guy full of hate and whatever, you still do the right thing at the end of the day. And there's a reason why we like these people. So not taking away Spider-Man at all. Are there Spider-Man movies I think are overhyped? Yes. Very overhyped. Do I think the Tobey Maguire trilogy is overhyped? After time, yes, I think it's very overhyped. There's a lot of things in there we could pick apart. But there's any movies, there's a lot to pick apart. Now, saying is it overhyped mean it's bad? No. I think Tobey Maguire's trilogy -3 had a lot of wrong in it. But it is amazing. It's great. The trilogy is good. And especially at the time when we had it, God, I think it's a lot of nostalgia for people that hang on to it. You kind of got to take that away when you like things. And look at it unbiased. Yes, unbiased. You have to look at it unbiased when you have these debates or thinking about what you want to say. And it's hard because you relate to maybe one over another. You watch this one in high school, and I like it more. I can let go of some stuff like X-Men 1 I saw in high school. It was huge to me. I remember sitting in the theater going, I cannot believe right now Wolverine is on my movie screen. I remember having that moment and just sunk with me. I can remember seeing him walking in the snow, and I just remember that idea blew my mind. Like, dude, how lucky are you? This guy that you idolized since you could remember. You at least remember in kindergarten you liked him. Before that, I don't know. Something happened before then where I liked Wolverine. I don't know. It wasn't when the cartoons came out. We got to that point. And it was awesome because then I get to have a bunch of friends that like it now, and we got more toys and more products. But I liked it before as anything. And not like tooting my horn, but I'm just saying there's stuff that we connect with and makes us a little biased. So X-Men 1, I could not be happier sitting in that movie theater. When it came out on, I believe I got it on DVD. Could not be happier. Played the hell out of it. Watched it so many times. But I can be honest. I had that connection really because it was the first movie with him in it. And I was in high school around it. It was a different time. So I was going through things that sunk into me more, I guess you could say. And touched me more. Giggity. and it just is different. So I put that up there a while, but then a lot of things came out and other things happen, and maybe your taste in movies change. You start getting more critical, look at stories differently, start getting your favorite directors and like certain cinematography, and you start judging a lot differently. And your bias has to kind of fade away when you look at these things. So now I can tell you X-Men #1 is not that good of a movie. The story's pretty lame. The acting's not the greatest. Ian McKellen's amazing and Patrick Stewart are. But for the most part, they're trying to find their footing for a lot of it. The effects just back then weren't up to par. Granted, we had Jurassic Park like 10 years before it. Around 10 years or so. No, about 10 years. Maybe 7 to 10 years before it. It wasn't 10 years, though. But, but it wasn't Jurassic Park money movie. So I get that. But, so the graphics weren't that great. But we were happy. We were happy to get what we get. We got them all in leather, whatever. But now you look back at it and you're like, you're grateful that it came. But I can say now that this movie isn't that good of a movie. And I always say, does that mean it's a bad movie? No. Doesn't mean it's a bad movie. It just means it wasn't good as I thought. And it's not something I'd put up against other things that say it's a good movie. People will fight tooth and nail for X2. Why? I have no idea. I watched it the other day and I was like, it's just a movie. It's not like it's horrible, but it's not great. I don't get what was great in it. Like Wolverine's got the fight in the in the mansion. Cool. He fights more in Origins, and Origins is god fucking dog shit. The story with Stryker, like that was the main villain kind of in it. I think X3 was probably more fun, even though X3 was horrible too, but X3 at least had a million different mutants and villains in it. That was cool to see, like, people pop up that we never thought we'd see. Like, didn't they get Psylocke in there or something? I don't know. They used Colossus, actually, which was cool, because I love Colossus. I have a real big soft spot for the Giant-Size X-Men. That team. I love that team. If you don't know that team, I'm not going to get into it, but that team is just great. X2 had a really good job with Nightcrawler, but I think it's because a lot of people like the tone. If they're being like more serious about it, like a serious movie, not thinking too much superhero about the bigotry and coming over this, how they're looked and stuff like that, I can understand maybe that is deeper. But as far as like a superhero movie being an entertaining superhero movie, not for me. Sometimes you have a superhero on the screen the whole time and I don't care. Even though they're flashy and doing superhero stuff, if it's not a good story, I'm not going to be there. If you have someone that's not a superhero for most of the time, but it's a good story, let's say Batman Begins, it's a good story. Batman doesn't show up till maybe a little half past the movie. That's okay. You could have that too. But the main thing is, we're getting all the way to it. I mean, wet my whistle. Don't worry. Whenever you see me like drinking stuff and it has like a McDonald's cup or something, it's from earlier in the day. It doesn't mean I have it all the time. And I put water in it. So just know that try a little healthiness besides the McDonald's. But the guy, non-hat guy, is obsessed with Amazing Spider-Man 2. I think, as far as I know, I think he believes it's the best superhero movie, or at least his favorite. I wouldn't say the best. We all know like what people consider the best. I get it. Like, I know this is like a top superhero movie, but then you have your own personal favorites, and I get that too. Or one that's your number one favorite, or your number one trilogy. And people can't take that away from you, but you can debate and talk about why some are crazy for having these takes. Having the Amazing Spider-Man 2, if it's your favorite superhero movie, I don't get it. If you're a Spider-Man fan, I don't get it. Yeah, character-wise, like, it disrespects a lot of the characters. The tone, there's a lot, but basically they're going to go over one part that... I'll just let them go over this part, and then we'll go a little bit longer.
Then you introduce the idea that Andrew Garfield is the only person that can be Spider-Man in this entire universe. That idea is anti-Spider-Man.
No, it's not.
But I've said that on the pod before. You're just wrong for that. But
why?
Because the whole thing about Spider-Man is that it can be.
What I like, real quick, I like that these guys are friends and can do this. If me and my friends argue like this, like we've argued on the podcast, it has to calm down. Because if not, one person will get pissed and leave the room. These guys can get heated and actually talk. So I give you guys that. The Cyclops guy is wrong. Just letting you know.
Everybody.
Says who?
Stan Lee.
Stan Lee.
Says
Stan Lee.
the creators of Spider-Man.
Stan Lee. What did he say?
Isn't that the whole scene in Into, where it's like
Into.
anybody can wear the mask? But that is
so it's just since Into, which came out after,
no.
right?
It's a comic sentiment, which you wouldn't know because you haven't read any of those.
I have read some.
Like,
first of all,
Everybody, I saw when this first, or when I came across it, everybody in the comments were like, he got cooked. It's unfortunate that people like me and possibly Hat Guy read comics. And we have deeper ties than people that don't read comics. And it's not trying to gatekeep. It feels like it. And I feel bad every time I say, well, if you've seen them in the comic, it's because you know these characters. Again, you grew up with these characters. Especially depends when you read comics. I've read them since, my dad collected since I was born, before I was born. So being into them was my thing as a kid. I was into them since I could remember. The joke was always, I got potty trained with a comic in my hand. But I did it to my son too. I gave him like something like that to read while he was trying to get him to sit there so I could use that joke too. But anyways, nonetheless, so it does suck because you're kind of gatekeeping, but at the same time, you have a different connection than people that just started watching it because they watched the cartoon. Just like Ninja Turtles, like people that read the comic book for Ninja Turtles that were excited that they're getting popular, they probably didn't, they gatekept a little bit probably because what got them popular is Playmates saw this comic and was like, we can make toys out of this. They didn't care about the comic. They made toys. And then the toys came out and they're like, we can make this into a cartoon series. This is what I think the pattern was. It wasn't cartoon, then toys. I think it was toy, then cartoons. To my knowledge. I could be wrong. Because I know that He-Man might have been the way they did that, but I could be wrong. Regardless, people got into it for either toys or the cartoon, not the comic. So now we have Ninja Turtles, huge success. There's people that got into it because of Michael Bay's movies, and they were like 3 watching it, 5 watching it. They're horrible, but that's how they got into it. And they may even to this day say, I like those because when I was young, that was the first time I saw the Ninja Turtles. But you have people that say, I watched it when I was a kid, and I watched the cartoons. And then other people are like, well, you don't get it, it's different. But it's like, no, but this is what I knew. And then I stayed with them all the way through the good and the bad. And I know all of this. I was there. Kid, I was there. I went through it all. And that's how a lot of comic book readers feel when it comes to their characters. Every time they want to change a little bit to a character, we have a knee-jerk response. Because you're changing our person. You're changing one of our guys. This is who we know. It's like someone you know your whole life and they're going to make them do this. And that's even with the race changing, gender changing. I'm never super upset with any of those. Long as it doesn't like change things like Captain America being black, that would change a lot. Just because the timelines and how it was, they treated, but it does make sense. They made the comic called Truth, where they were using black people without telling anybody the super soldier serum. That's where we got Eliza Bradley, or whatever his name was. Very cool story. That makes sense. Why they would have had a black Captain America. It wouldn't be Captain America because in their light eyes, they wanted a blue-eyed, blonde-haired guy being Captain America, So that's why I don't see it working if they made Will Smith be Steve Rogers. It wouldn't. But if you did the true storyline, that makes a whole lot of sense. If you made Batman, this is way longer than I expected. I thought it was going to be a short one. If you made Batman black during that time, it wouldn't make sense. Mexican, Asian, whatever. Doesn't mean black. Because back then, white American men and women were very wealthy. Had mansions and stuff. This was not seen by minorities at that time. Not during when it was written, during when they tried to take place. Batman always seems to be stuck in some weird 50s, 40s era when they draw them and wrote them in the beginning, especially even anime series, the way their cars look and all that. So you relate to the idea that if it wasn't this rich white man, you'd kind of question it just because it doesn't line up with the logic of history. And sometimes it could go out the window. That's fine. But for the most part, gatekeeping ain't a thing really with me with gender swaps. Like Silver Surfer, people blew up. It's going to be a woman. I could care less. If they want Norman Rad eventually, they'll do it. Her being a small part in Fantastic Four movie, I don't care. There's already been a woman's Silver Surfer. That's fine. I'm not going to lose my mind over it. If they made Mr. Fantastic, Mrs. Fantastic, yeah, that'd bug me. Because Mr. Fantastic has a huge history of being Reed Richards. And Reed Richards is a huge deal. Silver Surfer does as well. But used in movies and TV, he's very minimal. He actually has his own cartoon, which was not bad. I watched it. It was pretty good. It's on Disney Plus. You go watch it. I remember watching it as a kid, and then I watched it again as an adult. But usually Silver Surfer wasn't used in the limelight. They tried in the 90s. Gave him a series. He got stuck in the Phoenix Gauntlet storyline. He got his own video game. Again, a reason to bitch and complain about him being a girl. But using them in movie-wise, it kind of faded away. We got him in The Rise of Silver Surfer. And then nothing much was seen. I would love to see Silver Surfer in the Phoenix Gauntlet story because he played a huge part. I was mad when I heard that they were going to do one and there's no Silver Surfer. We had no Adam Warlock. It blew my mind. Adam Warlock is such a big key to that storyline. But they did a good job. They made it work. They had a plan. And it worked. So these little tweaks at first are knee jerks. And I won't lie about that. But Spider-Man, you can't go wrong with the formula. But there are ways to get around it. And I'll get on with some of that. I'll let them talk a little bit longer because there's a few minutes left. And again, I hate that I always go, oh, this isn't going to take long. And I get really invested in what I'm talking about.
Also, that doesn't make you...
No, again, it's like
the arbiter of what...
Okay.
Stan Lee said that
you're Mr. Spider-Man.
Because he has a mask on, you can't see his face. So it could be anyone underneath the mask. That doesn't mean that no comic book ever, in any universe ever, can't have a storyline where it's Peter Parker's DNA. That doesn't make any sense. That's not what Stan Lee was saying. That's not what he meant. That he meant that, like, kids...
He needs to take a breath. Just throwing it out there. He needs to take a breath. He'd be like, I'm an adult. I know this is my character. But I'm an adult. I can figure this out.
Looking at Spider-Man and seeing a guy with a mask, unlike Superman or Batman where you can see his skin, it could be anyone under there. That doesn't mean TASM 2 is a bad movie because it has a parent plot line.
Let's be real. Batman has been other Batman. Dick Grayson has been Batman before, and no one knew. So, just saying. The skin doesn't matter sometimes if you both look like white guys.
About DNA. That's not what Stan Lee was saying.
No, but that inclusion is just bad. You're somebody that you
just ignored everything I said. That's fine for you to think that, but that you can't use that reasoning. Like, you can't say someone's anti-Spider-Man for liking TASM 2.
Then you introduce...
So, no. For liking it, I can't say you're anti-Spider-Man. I can't say that. I just would say you have bad taste in movies. In superhero movies, I guess you would say. If there was... Yeah, definitely. I would have to say that. Like, yeah, I don't think you get it. I understand liking elements of it, yes. But saying it's an overall movie, I would not die on that hill at all. So what they're arguing about is they do something that basically... Peter was basically, I guess, an experiment, basically, with his parents. And the reason why he got the powers was because something was already in him. And it takes away from the randomness that anyone could have been Peter Parker or be Spider-Man. I don't like that much, but I let it slide. That's not the biggest problem with the movie. It is stupid, though, because he was destined for it no matter what. And you could say when he got bit by a radioactive spider, he was just destined for it that way. But this was like manufactured, that something was going to happen with him someday that would change something. He could have got bitten by a hippo, and he had this DNA in him that would make him react to it or whatever. I appreciate them going down the parent route. It's not very good, but there's different ways to make it different. You want to separate this from at the time, the Raimi, Sam Raimi's trilogy. So I understand. I don't want to do the Uncle Ben thing all over again. They did, but they wanted a different approach to him. So I could appreciate that they were trying to do something different, adding the parent element in. It's been talked about here and there in the comics. I think they're agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. at some point, or then they were secret agents. I don't know. Again, I read, but I also ignore a lot. So I appreciate them trying that. Once it like sunk in and stuff, it was kind of not the best. I don't think it was a good part of his origin to fall back on. Of course, the Uncle Ben thing was the thing that changed him. But I'm gonna be seem biased because I just think MCU did it better. We've seen it. These guys kind of paved the way for it. We've seen the origins already a lot. So they go, we don't have to even do an origin. We could just go right into the movie. So that was nice. That was easy for them. Because we don't want to see the origin again. We don't want to see it. And this origin, they try to make it different. And if you read Ultimate Spider-Man, they did it a little different as well. He got bit, but he got powers that are the organic fluid, which Tobey Maguire's one copied. And it's just different ways. But with this, it messes it up a little bit. And the same goes for Eric Bana Hulk They made where his dad dissected things and put him in things he was working on, certain reptiles and all kinds of stuff in him. So when he got hit with the gamma rays, he reacted to it differently. Unlike another person would die, they wanted to make it plausible that he lived because he had stuff in him that let him live, also contributing to him turning into Hulk. I've heard people say they like that movie. They're crazy. I remember I walk out of movies a lot of times happy, even if it's a dark movie. Sometimes I'll be like, that was great, but I'm not cheesing. But like walking out of some movies, I'm cheesing. That movie, I was depressed and sad. Hulk looked stupid. They made him huge. He only fought dogs in it. His dad was it Nick Nolte, and got mad and arguing with them and grabbed a cable and started biting on it. Then he became like Absorbing Man without calling him Absorbing Man. We're not talking about that movie though. But they did a similar thing with it was in him. That's why they got the powers. So with this one, they did the same thing. That's not the biggest problem with this movie. This movie, one thing that's great, or there's a few things that are great. Andrew Garfield is a really good Peter Parker. Problem is, he's too cool looking. Too good looking to be Peter Parker. Not saying Tobey Maguire is bad looking, not to saying Tom Holland's bad looking. It's just this dude's got like a more bad boy look than the other two. He could pull off being a Flash Thompson as well. Tom Holland couldn't, Tobey Maguire couldn't. He could be a Flash Thompson and we wouldn't miss a beat. We could have Agent Venom as him. But he was a good Peter Parker. I didn't like him that much in the first one. I felt like they made him too awkward, and it didn't look right with how he talked. He was like stuttering and stuff. I don't know. I remember being really bugged by it. The second one, he was really good as Peter Parker. He's really good at Spider-Man, and that's the thing they talk about, the quips. Spider-Man doesn't. The cool thing about the quips, especially in the comics, he does it a lot to not so much de-escalate the situation in the fight. He does it to get you off your guard, to get you pissed off, and to get, someone talking crap to you while they're fighting. Tom Holland doesn't really do it. But he does it really well in Civil War, where he's trying to talk to them about the different things, Falcon stuff, Winter Soldier stuff, talking to Steve Rogers. He's not so much quipping, but he is talkative during the fight, which I appreciated. The more the comebacks from the other people, more so than what Tom was saying. But this one, we did get quips. We got the jokes. We got the Spider-Man stuff. Him in the suit was great. It's like, I think they've said before, it's probably one of the best suits we've gotten. Big eyes. I hate Sam Raimi's suit. I cannot stand it. I just lived through that so much. I remember seeing it everywhere. I had the head on my car, on my antenna. Came from Carl's Jr., and he's got the silver lining everywhere, and it just was too much. They tried too hard to make that suit look like a movie Spider-Man, not just Spider-Man. They went back to the basics. He's just going to be Spider-Man. The only thing different, I think things might have changed it. The first one, he had like sneaker type looking things. I remember seeing set photos and it was like a weird padding. This one, I don't think they did that. I think they did everything good with the suit on this. That was another cool thing. And probably the biggest thing was, I talked about in other videos, the chemistry between him and Gwen Stacy, Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy, was really, really good. It really makes the movie the movie. That's what drives the movie to be anything good, story-wise. That's the only thing that's good for the story. And I don't know if it's because they were dating at the time or they're just good. Maybe they weren't dating, they're just getting into each other. Maybe it's just because they're good actors and actresses. I don't know. But that's what worked. Now, what didn't work was a lot. The story was pretty bad. I know he's gone on and said, for the record, he said that Electro didn't bug him. They fixed Electro in like a minute in Spider-Man No Way Home. Took him a minute to make Electro interesting. And this one, so not interesting. I've said this a million times during these conversations. They went the Riddler, Poison Ivy route, Killian route. Oh, I'm a nerd. I'm trying to be, part of the society, but everyone rejects me. And I get some power and I'm going to get revenge. Stupid. Yeah, Jamie Foxx, a really good actor. But they had to make him this guy that is this nerd and no one pays attention. No one knows his name. It's so sad. We got to have sympathy for this villain. He can't just be a villain. We got to have sympathy. No one could be the Joker anymore. Just chaos. That's not Electro, dude. Electro's just whatever. Electro's a side villain. You don't really need to make him the big villain, but hey, you want to do it? Do him right. Just make him some evil guy. Or just make him a regular guy that wants revenge. Do we have to do like this? Oh, man. Who likes this? Who likes this formula? Who likes this? Like, the idea of, I want to make him a nerd and come back with revenge. It happens in so many movies. What is it? She's all that? Like, I don't get it. Like, the glasses come off and they're cool all of a sudden? And I think that literally happens to most of them. I don't think Jim Carrey had glasses as Riddler, though, but I don't get it. Electro was horribly done. I believe he said he had no problems with it, which I cannot believe. Again, it goes back to the gatekeeping of reading the comics, or watching the cartoons, whatever you want to say. Electro's not that big of a deal. Spider-Man takes an issue to beat him. So for them to make him a threat, cool. Let's make him fight an Electric guy for the first time. This is Spider-Man's first time fighting against Electric guy. Let's involve eels. Electric eels. Everyone's going to get their powers from animals, just like Spider-Man did. So we're going to make a deal with eels. And not only is he going to come out and not look like Electro, because we don't want to look stupid with the bright yellow electric stuff on his face, but there's a way you could probably work around it. Hell, they could have been maskless. Like in No Way Home. And his electricity made the mask when he did it. But no, we wanted them all bling to look like Dr. Manhattan. All blue, I should say. I might have said bling. All blue like Dr. Manhattan. Now, where did they get this from? It's not their fault that they were digging through Ultimate Spider-Man one day and said, hey, Electro's blue. Isn't electricity blue sometimes? Let's make Electro blue. Okay, not only that in the movie, we're going to make him not have a suit. He's just going to be like basically naked. And then he does wear stuff, but he's just all blue. That's his electric power, is all coming from his body. It's going through his veins. And not only that, he needs to feed off electricity to get more power. Horrible. Jamie Foxx is a good actor, and they gave him a role that sucked. It was bad. His delivery and the lines that they give him were bad. They were corny. I feel like it was a 1966 Batman. Like, just bad. I don't know anybody that could just tell me they did justice to this villain. And again, it's like a C-level villain. Trying to push him up to do an A-level job, that's already hard as it is. But to bomb on him like this? Whew, man. So on top of that, we want to keep Green Goblin a mystery in this storyline. So, Green Goblin's a mystery. We're going to do a probably big reveal in number 3, which we never get. So we're probably going to do a whole thing with that. And then we get hints of the guy that plays, I guess, Norman. He's all right. Not the greatest person I'd want to be Norman, but he's sick. So again, we're all thinking, okay, the Goblin Serum is going to be what saves him or whatever. So we're going to get hints of him. But what they're going to do, we're going to set up first with Harry as the first Green Goblin. That's what we're going to do. Okay, interesting take. But how are you going to make him look? We're going to get this actor that only got huge off of one role. And we're going to make him look grotesque, like Golem. And look like a real goblin. And then we're going to put stuff around him that Green Goblin wouldn't wear, or we couldn't change it to modernize him to not just being a green tights, purple gloves. I get that. That's hard. But unfortunately, No Way Home did a pretty job at how good Green Goblin could look without the mask. I think it was good. You can't say Spider-Man 1 Green Goblin looked good. He looks like a Power Ranger villain. I don't care what you say. I don't care. Tell me it all day long. You thought that suit looked cool. No. William Dafoe? Great. Great as Green Goblin. Suit? No go. Horrible suit. When they had the screen test of what they originally were doing, with it being all computer hand moved and all that, looking like Five Nights at Freddy's, sick. Look up the test. Look up the Goblin Mask test. He looks scary. That's probably what they're worried about, is going to scare children. He looks sick. And 2, he looks sickly dying. Harry Osborn gave no good performance, or no chemistry, as in this guy was my best friend. Gave that hope. Even Franco did, I think, better than him. And I think Franco's not that good of an actor. But this guy just was not Harry Osborn. He was not. It was bad. His acting, the chemistry, bad. All bad. And then we finally get him as Green Goblin. For what reason? I don't know. We're already putting so many characters in this already. Tons of characters. We have Emma now. We have Electro. Now we're going to throw Green Goblin. We haven't talked about Rhino yet. But okay, we have all this. And we're going to throw Green Goblin. And then we're going to do a crucial thing and make this the one where Green Goblin kills Emma Stone. So that takes balls already. But I guess they want to make them go a little darker. It's kind of weird to make an ending like that. I get it. A lot of the Spider-Mans don't go that route when they first come out. Or when they first start, usually don't have so much of a killing at the end. And then you kind of got to end it in a way to make people smile, I guess. I don't know. Like, even with the funeral scene with, I think it's who died in the first Remy one? Can't remember. But it's more like, I can't date you, Mary Jane. And Mary Jane's like, he kissed me just like Spider-Man. And Spider-Man walks away and narrates that he's Spider-Man now. And he has to do what he has to do and whatever. This is weird. This was like really hard to be like, how can we end this good with Gwen dying? And they did a decent job with him watching her video from the graduation. Him getting back out there as Spider-Man and getting into his body, going like, come here, kid. Or, he talks to him like, I'll take over from here. It's a really sweet spot. Getting on the microphone, being Spider-Man, that was great. Spider-Man being Spider-Man was great. But killing Gwen Stacy was a big risk. It's hard to jump back from that. They could have ended it on a downer, but they made it happy, which I get. But it's really hard to come out of that, and you want it to affect him to the point where in the third one, he's going to be dealing with it. They kind of mention it in Far From Home, but he wasn't pulling his punches. But in number 2, they kind of end it where they make it like he heard her, talked about her, he got the confidence again, was like, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to keep being Spider-Man for her, for everybody. And it would have sucked to the third one that he gets down again. We'd be like, why, what, did you think about her again? And something made you sad? But that was a risk, and they wanted to do it. I think they could have went a different route and kept Emma Stone around for the real Green Goblin because they had such good chemistry, and Mary Jane could have come later. But Mary Jane was supposedly in the sequel, and they cut out her parts. Forgot the actress, but I remember the actress pictures and all that. I don't know why they plant seeds for that, because it seemed really off the way the story was flowing. So I get why they cut it. I don't know why they planned it. Maybe it just looked good on paper once they got to shooting it. After they're done, they're like, dude, this is going to mess up the flow and the beats, which it would. So I applaud them for cutting out that. But Mary Jane should have got introduced if she was getting killed. But the way they were doing the scenes wasn't really that great. And it's hard to introduce someone when they're so much in love, too. He wouldn't pay attention to Mary Jane like that. So maybe you could have planted seeds, but maybe it should have been from the first one. Then carried it over, I don't know. It's not a long $200 comic run where you have so much time to get these development and get the characters to drop in, drop out, drop in. You can't do that. So it's kind of hard to do it from a 1 to a 2 to a 3, whatever you want to keep going to. So back to it. This is the one where Green Goblin kills Emma Stone. Not only do they change it to where Emma Stone doesn't just fall, Spider-Man catches her at the last second, and her head just knocks the hell on the ground, which is crazy that kids had to see that. But I mean, it's Spider-Man. I get it. I'm not going to say keep your kids home. It's just, dude, she just rocked her head off that ground. It should have been busted like a piñata with blood everywhere. So I kind of didn't like it that looked like Spider-Man was kind of to blame for it. He could have break a lot of people's backs. Like in Spider-Man 2, everyone loves Spider-Man 2, but Doc Ock decides to throw people off the bus or the train one at a time, and Spider-Man's able to web each one, and they're not getting critically hurt from flying and landing in web, dislocated shoulders, broken legs. No. So sometimes you gotta just suspend your belief, I guess. But people will complain about little things like that here and there, and it's like, well, you got to pick your lane. So with that, I thought they could just left it with Green Goblin dropping her, and we see her just down on the ground. Again, it'd be hard because he'd be like, where's the blood? But same thing with her head hitting. It's the blood. There was no blood. I don't know if Spider-Man in that movie knew he did that, but the viewers saw that he basically was an inch away from saving her. We knew that, if Peter didn't know that. So that was done in a different way than I expected it to go. It was sad. Good scene. Green Goblin, on the other hand, hanging around doing his thing, not very good. And at this time, you kind of forget even Electro is in this fucking movie. You kind of forget Electro's even there. The whole damn end fight, it's Electro and Green Goblin against him. He's already getting 2-1. And then we're going to throw Emma dying. Gwen Stacy dying in the middle of all this. On top of it, we're going to give you this crappy Electro that's all blue. He was a nerd and got picked on, and he turned blue because of eels. And now he just wants power because he didn't have friends. And then we have Harry Osborn that we didn't get to know very well, that decided to just be evil for little circumstances and become Golem as a goblin. And he looked nothing like a Green Goblin that you would see in the comics, or what we thought of. And again, I understand being away from green tights, purple gloves, but No Way Home did an okay job at it. They kind of saw the writing on the wall and learned from their mistakes, I would say. Even number one's mistakes, because we don't want the Power Ranger Green Goblin. But all that happens, and we're going to say that was good. That was good. Now, they redeemed that Spider-Man saving MJ, which they gave him a good moment to redeem such a bad, sad scene. I wouldn't say bad, which was great. Thank you, No Way Home. Again, but he has to beat Green Goblin, beat Electro. Both of those characters are horribly done. Again, Peter Parker, Spider-Man, great. Andrew did a great job. Again, too cool looking. He could play Flash Thompson. He could play Peter. That's a problem. Good actor. That's the problem. They had to get a good actor, and this guy was just too good to pass up. I get it. He's a great actor. But it just sucks because he's too cool looking. Like I said, not saying the other guys are ugly, but you can see the other guys play Flash. This guy could play Flash. He could be a bully, and good looking bully guy. So we have all that. Then we could throw in Rhino, Oasis, Paul Giamatti. I hope I said his name right. As the Rhino. Someone in the writer's room was like, I want to see this guy as the Rhino. You wanted to see him as the Rhino. We finally get the Rhino. And you're telling me that the horrible Kraven movie did the horrible Rhino in there, and that horrible Rhino looked better than the robot Rhino that we got in Spider-Man 2? It looked like the left leg of a Power Ranger got loose. It looked like it was the Triceratops that should be connected to the rest of the body. And we have Paul Giamatti, I believe his name, with a tattoo around his head, which, why did they add that? What was that? We need to show he's been in jail? I don't get it. It was just such a dumb thing. Shouldn't even bug me because it's so small, but it's just so stupid. Like, someone in the art department is like, what about tattoos? Or someone that was sketching him out, what about a tattoo around the head? So that was already done. But we're not going to hold that against him. He's a great actor. But we're going to make him Rhino. But Rhino's going to be a robot Power Ranger, basically. It's like Jim Carrey in Avengers. Ace Ventura 2. Stuck in a robot Rhino. It was stupid. Anyone that wants to defend that, come at me too. That's not how you do Rhino. Again, C-list character. You can mess around with it a little bit, but why like this? You know, it's not a person that's like an A top tier Spider-Man villain. One of the ones that he has so much problems with. Green Goblin could have been the one. Since it was the first Green Goblin they're going to do ever, they could have took that more serious and really focused on it. Instead, someone told them that he looked okay. I don't know who, but I know anybody that's a big Spider-Man fan would tell you, I hope this guy would see him and say, yeah, he doesn't look good as Spider-Man or as Green Goblin. But someone approved all these looks. Electro, Green Goblin. I'm shocked they'd even go with the Ultimate Green Goblin. I kept thinking they're going to go that route at some point. They're going to make Green Goblin turn into like a Hulk-like monster where he's a huge goblin. And I don't like that, but it makes more sense that a serum would do that to somebody. Not just make him look like William Dafoe and be normal. Just crazy. And just have to wear a mask. With this one, they're like, you know what? We get that. He doesn't need a mask, but he's going to get screwed up looking. Nothing with Green Goblin. And we're going to make him have no hood. He's going to be all technology looking. He's going to have his glider. But he's going to look like a 90s generic villain superhero with a bunch of like metal around him and crap. And again, the Craven Rhino was bad, but they at least made him a guy standing up with a gray suit on him with a horn on his head. They at least did that. Like, they at least did that. Instead, we got mechanical Rhino. So we already gone through a few of the things. All right. A few of the problems that we had. Then we go to the end scenes where we got the man in the hat. The man in the hat had a part already in the first one. Then they had him in the second one. And it's supposed to lead to this whole big thing. Who would have known what happened in the third one? But them building up this, I believe they should have done more seeds planting. Like us getting Norman, basically. And even the Mary Jane thing, they were thinking about at least when they wrote it. They did cut it out. But they were having ideas for these things. With whatever they were going towards, the Sinister Six movie, which they were going to probably bring back Electro. They're going to bring back Lizard. Don't get me started on Lizards. Oh my god. What his evil plan was to do. Just spray shit in the air and make people lizards. But yeah, so Man That Hat, nothing came from it. The build-up, we did see other costumes. So in this world, they either were making weapons for people to become Doc Ock, which is dumb, because Doc Ock should have got it from an accident, like number 2 did. They had the Vulture wings, I believe. No way. Homecoming, I mean, did a great job with the Vulture. The Vulture is like below C villain. He's a dude in feathers that flies around that's bald, and he literally has no powers. Literally none. What did they do with this Vulture in Homecoming? Well, people like them, I think, don't like Homecoming. They did a great job. They put in a below C character and made him sinister. Michael Keaton's lines to him when they're glowing in the car, good God, Michael Keaton. Good God. And they made him an actual vulture. He would go find things and pick the parts off things and go sell them. And now on top of it, he had the Tinkerer make things out of them. So he got things from the Chitauri, all kinds of stuff where they made these weapons. Brilliant. This dude, the company picks up stuff. What's brilliant? Damage control gets involved. You're stepping on feet. Great way to move Marvel stuff together. Awesome way. The Vulture suit, he has it to do robberies and shit. How's he look? Good. He has big metal wings. He has a sick, like, air, I don't know, like a, what you call, like a helmet to ride in the air or whatever. I don't know. It was sick. That's how you get a bad villain to make him look good and could carry a movie. Vulture carried the movie. Now, they did make it where she was related to Liz, I believe. I can't remember her name. But that was a good way to change it a little bit. That's not something you'd be upset with because you're like, oh, they're connected in some way. Just like Joker in 89, they made him be the one that kills Batman, which Bob Kane has said till this day, I wish I would have done that. I wish I would have made Joker killed. Then Joe Kill, basically. Joe Chill. I wish I would have because that would have been so much better why they hate each other and are connected. Now, people might not like that, but Bob Kane, the creator himself, said that. So, having that connection with someone that knows Spider-Man and he wants to kill him, but he doesn't know quite how to go about it, great. Really good job. Thank you, Homecoming, once again. So, we're back to Amazing Spider-Man 2. I don't know if I give enough to say why the movie was stupid. Connecting the family, connecting that it was bigger than it was, connecting that Spider-Man was made to be bitten by a spider, or made to be somewhat already enhanced, but something could trigger anytime, and a spider bite happened to do it, is dumb as well, because it takes away from just being a random dude, and you got the burden of being Peter Parker Spider-Man. Talking about Green Goblin and Harry Bourne's story. Harry Bourne, I think I said that right. Harry Osborn's story. You want to jump over and not do Green Goblin yet? Cool, we'll wait and make him the big baddie eventually, like a Thanos type of idea. But let's make him like have no chemistry, deliver horrible lines, make these guys seem like they never do each other, never grew up with each other. Like I said, Franco sucked, and I think he did better than this kid. So let's put a little note and pin on that one. Then let's make him Green Goblin. Let's make him look horrible. Have dumb motives. And just make him look stupid. Let's make it where people laugh when they're in the theater. Then after that, we got Electro. So we got the nerdy guy, gets picked on, and he wants revenge for being picked on. He wasn't Vulture that was trying to, create this little empire by picking up these things and support his family. He was a guy that was mad. People didn't know his name. And that was dumb. I'm sorry. That was dumb. To sit there and say, this is why Electro's evil. This is why Spider-Man has to fight him. Then his big thing was, Spider-Man, you don't know who I am. And, oh my God. But on top of that, we have his look. Then we have his superhero look, or villain look. He's big and blue and looks like Dr. Manhattan and just looks horrible. God awful. Then we go to Rhino back. We'll go back to Rhino. The missing Power Ranger leg. Paul Giamatti playing him. Tattoo around the head. Some guy that's a Russian prisoner that broke out or something. Dumb. And the best thing out of all of it, like I said, Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy's relationship. That makes it worth watching. They have a really good story, good chemistry. Andrew Garfield's a great Spider-Man. He has a great attitude, great costume, great quips. But that doesn't save the movie. Unfortunately, it doesn't save the movie. It unfortunately makes it still not a good movie. Now, when I say it's bad, I always tell this in every video. Is it bad where I say this is horrible? For a Spider-Man movie, yeah, I'd say it's bad. For just a movie, it's whatever. You can watch it and I'd be like, But if you're telling me this is the best Spider-Man movie we got, you are high. You don't like Spider-Man. You've never read Spider-Man. You don't respect Spider-Man. Because that's crazy. You want to see his villains done like this? The guy that has probably the best rogues in Marvel, it lines up against Batman and his rogues. I'm sorry. Spider-Man's rogue gallery and Batman's top tiers. So many people, so many different powers. They stretch all different ways. Someone's related to who. This person was my teacher, whatever. And they're going to do them like that? And you could have had a big impact having the first Goblin be Harry Osborn, but make us care. Make us care that his best friend turned into this evil person. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We don't care. No one was invested into it. What we were invested into was Gwen and Peter's story. We felt it when she died. It's a sad moment. It's really bad. We felt it when he listened to her speech at the end. That was what Spider-Man 2 had going. Peter Parker, Spider-Man, the suit, and then Gwen Stacy, Emma Stone, Gwen Stacy. That's what it had. Does that make it a good Spider-Man movie? No. Because you have a bunch of other factors that have to make it good. And unfortunately, it's the story that the biggest thing has to be a good story. You can look flashy, look pretty, but the story has to work. And unfortunately, the side story of a love relationship can't save a movie of the bigger story. What the man has to have conflict with, man versus man storyline. I guess you could even say man versus nature because he's electric. That's where it all comes down to. You can't have a flashy movie like Fast and the Furious and have a dumbass story because we're like, dude, I'm just watching this from the cars and the explosions right now. I can't take this serious. And with this, they were lucky that they had that little side story going on that sometimes felt like the focus because they did kind of push some things out of the way. I think that's what made people maybe enjoy it more because that part, Gwen was in it quite a bit. But you look at the first Spider-Man, Mary Jane was in it quite a bit, But yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 2 is bad. 100% bad Spider-Man movie. It's bad and not the representation of how he looks, because he looks well. The way he talks well with the quips. He does quips really good. The first one, he kind of annoyed me. The suit sucked, and how he did his quips with like sneezing and stuff. It just seemed too confident. Too confident to be your first week as Spider-Man. Too jokey. But yeah, if you're a Spider-Man fan, they did a lot of garbage around him. He was a shiny beacon in the middle of a pile of trash. All the rest was trash. Defend it. Tell me it's not. Tell me why Electro's so cool. Tell me why Goblin was so cool. Tell me why Rhino was so cool. Tell me why these endings that were leading up to something were so cool. Please, share with me. Why was it cool? Tell me why Green Goblin coming now, first time ever, as Harry was cool, but the story, how it led up to it. How did it work? What made him cool? What made him look good? If you say it looks good, you're crazy. That's all I got to say. Make a Spider-Man manufactured, so if he got bit by something, I guess, he turns into Spider-Man. Stupid. You don't need to break, you don't need to change things. I shouldn't say break. If it's broken, don't fix it. Or if it's fixed, don't break in it. What does it say? Something like that? If it's broke, don't fix it. If it's broke, I don't know. But basically, it was, you just do your own thing. Like, again, I can appreciate going towards the family stuff. Do a little bit of a different origin. I think it worked a little bit in the first one. Showed a lot of his scientific side, which I appreciated. But it kind of just started to fall off. Like, I appreciate the attempt, at least. Because you got to separate from the Raimi one. And I get that. Raimi one. I understand that. But just saying Spider-Man 2 is the best Spider-Man movie is complete nuts. And I already gave my case about a lot of things. Batman, Wolverine, how people feel, the nostalgia, whatever. But you can't look at a Spider-Man fan in the eye and say, this is how Spider-Man should be represented. Not the character. This whole movie. This is how I like him represented. I like him in this world with these characters in this story. I don't know a Spider-Man fan that could agree with that. There's no way. Only good thing was him and Gwen Stacy and some quips and a great costume. And good actors out of Emma and Peter, or Andrew. Everything else sucked. And that's it. I'm turning off OBS, no editing. Spider-Man 2 isn't that good. Amazing Spider-Man 2 isn't that good. Sorry. Turn off OBS. Bye.